All right, good evening. Welcome everybody to the regular city council meeting for the city of Galt. Today is Tuesday, September the 20th. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we have to continue to handle our council meetings a little bit differently for the protection of the public and our staff. I'm now going to ask our city manager to give a brief explanation to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Although this meeting of the Galt City Council is being conducted in person, today's agenda states that we are also using audio-only teleconference options, which allow the public to provide live public comment remotely. Members of the public may use the Zoom link described in the agenda to enter the webinar via audio only. And they should be able to use the raise their hand option to speak when the mayor announces the time for the general public comment or when a specific agenda item is called if your comment concerns an item on the agenda. Attendees should also see a lower hand feature if they change their mind and do not want to speak. Members of the public may also use the call-in feature described in the agenda. You may just listen if you prefer, but if you would like to speak when the mayor announces the time for public comment, you may do so by pressing *9 at that time. We request that all speakers, in person or on the phone, provide their name and address when they're called on to speak. But doing so is not required. Today's agenda states that residents may submit written public comments via email to pubcom@cityofgalt.org prior to the council meeting, which will be distributed to the council, made part of the official minutes, and posted on the city's website prior to the meeting. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
All right, thank you, sir. Do we have a report out from closed session, Mr. Attorney?
Good evening, Mayor. There's no reportable action.
All right, thank you. I'll now call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau.
Here.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Here.
Councilmember Lozano.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. If everyone would please join us in a silent prayer followed by our flag salute. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. All right. Agenda approval, additions and/or deletions. We are going to be moving item L2 from the agenda to the October 4th meeting. Anything else, City Manager? Okay. Item G, presentations. This evening we have the Ostomy Proclamation Day. We have Mr. Dan Shockley here this evening. Dan, would you like to come up? Would you like to say a few words before I read your proclamation, or do you want me to do that first? Okay.
My name is Dan Shockley, retired Navy. Operation Desert Storm, enduring an Iraqi freedom veteran, and I served 4 different deployments in the Persian Gulf. And the reason I'm here tonight is on behalf of the United Ostomy Associations of America. 10 years ago, this past July, I ended up undergoing a permanent ostomy surgery. I was diagnosed with a hereditary colon cancer syndrome at Tripler Army Medical Center in Hawaii, and I have since relocated to California because I'm a patient at Stanford University Hospital for the rest of my life because of my condition and ongoing surveillance. So on behalf of the United Ostomy Associations of America, they have designated the first Saturday of every October as Ostomy Awareness Day, and for the last 8 years I've been a social ambassador for the UOAA. And I'm also an international virtual live case presentation for numerous platforms, including Australia, the UK, India, and there's a couple others out there. But thank you very much for sponsoring this Ostomy Awareness Day proclamation.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we have this proclamation, which I'm going to read out loud here. And it is the proclamation by the City of Galt, California for Ostomy Awareness Day, October 1st, 2022. Whereas an ostomy is a type of surgery that creates an opening stoma in the abdomen that allows for the removal of bodily waste when a person has lost normal function of digestive and urinary tract due to birth defects, colorectal cancer, bladder cancer, Crohn's disease, and I'm going to get some of these words wrong, ulcerative colitis, and other medical conditions. They are also necessary in the case of severe abdominal or pelvic trauma resulting from accidents and or injuries sustained during military service. The bodily waste passes through the stoma into an ostomy pouch on the outside of the body, or in case of continent diversion surgeries, an internal surgically created reservoir. Whereas approximately 725,000 to 1 million Americans have ostomy, with approximately 100,000 new ostomy procedures performed each year. Whereas ostomy or continent diversion surgery can occur at any age and does not lower life expectancy. Whereas largely through the efforts of United Ostomy Association of America, the UOAA, and its over 300 affiliated support groups, Americans needing these surgeries are becoming more aware of the opportunities for education, mutual aid, advocacy, and support that are of such great benefit to them and their families. Whereas the United States of America celebrates Ostomy Awareness Day with the United Ostomy Associations of America annually on the first Saturday of October. And whereas the City of Galt is committed to increasing public understanding of ostomy to eventually help dispel the fear of those about to undergo this surgery, as well as the fear that confronts their families. This day can serve as a reminder to the public, to the American public, that this is a life-saving and life-restoring surgery. And whereas the City of Galt recognizes the need that public education and awareness is vital to ensure those who are living with ostomy face no discrimination and are accepted as normal, healthy individuals. Through education and awareness, we can erase the myths, stigma, and embarrassment that are sometimes associated with having an ostomy. And whereas the City of Galt and other government and private sectors are deeply committed to the proper care and advancement of knowledge about bowel and urinary diversion surgeries as a result of birth defects, disease, injury, and other digestive disorders. And whereas to increase public acceptance of ostomy surgery and continent diversion surgery, and to help the country better understand the ostomies are lifesavers, the City of Galt is designating Ostomy Awareness Day on October 1st, 2022. Now therefore it be resolved that the City Council of Galt, California, do hereby proclaim October 1st, 2022 as Ostomy Awareness Day. Ostomies are lifesavers, and calls upon all residents of Galt, California to unite on this day in a showing of support to shine a positive light on this life-saving surgery. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused the seal of the City of Galt to affix this the 20th day of September 2022. And we have all the council members and myself and the city clerk have all signed this. Would you like to have a photograph of this?
Absolutely, thank you. I know that's a lot to
council, or-
digest. Thank you very much.
With the entire council or just,
Whatever you feel comfortable. It's
okay? Why don't we do that? You want to step up here?
Our city clerk will take care of the photographer duties today.
All right, moving on to item H, public comment. Tina?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the city council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for the city council to receive comments, except for brief responses to questions. No discussion or action may be taken on any item that is not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Due to the statewide emergency, public comments may also be submitted, as noted above, via the options listed on the first page of the agenda for providing live public comment or prior to the meeting via email to pubcom@cityofgalt.org by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting, which will be distributed to City Council, made part of the official minutes, and posted on the city's website prior to the meeting, but will not be read out loud.
Do we have any public comment this evening?
The first public comment is Mr. Ballier.
Mr. Ballier, can you please, it's ballet, not ballier, right?
I've been called worse. It's
Well,
ballet.
no, but I always say ballier, and I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, it's ballet.
It's ballet, okay, thank you, sir.
Like in ballet dancing, except I don't do that. Okay.
Proceed.
So, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, council members, and staff. I'm taking my 5 minutes to introduce a handicapped gentleman, elderly gentleman that's going to be following me to make a public comment about a presentation that he did before the Commission on Aging last month, and it pertains to seniors and the flea market interaction for seniors. He has some recommendations. So anyway, I'm just here to give him my moral support. He asked if he could speak before the city council, and I told him absolutely, everybody is entitled to do that. So I urge you, please give him your attention, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Belay. Next public comment?
Mr. Pierce?
Good evening, sir. Just
Good
go ahead,
evening.
go ahead and give us your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Kent Pierce. I am a Galt resident, and I live at 9835 Harvey Road here in Galt. I would like to thank the council first for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight and hearing me out. I have with me a copy of the Galt Commission on Aging Resource Guide, that I'm sure you're familiar with. And in the second statement of that, second paragraph of that commission resource guide, it says that the city advocates for aging by supporting seniors and assisting them in finding appropriate information, resources, events, and services. And services is what I wish to speak to tonight. And I will also tell you before I begin that my stroke did a lot of damage. It greatly harmed my vocal cords, so I know I'm a little hard of hearing. And it also killed my swallow. So that every once in a while, if you see me emptying my mouth in this cup, you will know it's necessary for me in order to speak and be understood. I'm here tonight on behalf of the thousands of senior citizens who live in and around Galt. According to the demographics that was given to me by the Committee on Aging, based on the California Census report, these seniors, like myself, would occasionally like to sell some of their unneeded or antique items to supplement their Social Security or other incomes. They would have the best chance of doing this at the Galt Marketplace, where thousands of people are looking for something to buy each week. Presently, it costs approximately $50 to have a booth at the marketplace because there is no consideration given to seniors. I am here tonight to request the City Council pass a resolution to allow senior citizens who can document their age at 65 plus to sell at no booth fee at the marketplace on a once-a-month basis. It would be easy for the marketplace personnel to track this usage. And the senior citizens in this area would benefit greatly from having this way to dispose of unneeded items and supplement their sometimes meager incomes. The cost to the city would be negligible. And the social and community benefits that the city would receive from this would be huge. It would be a win-win situation for the city and for seniors. Therefore, I respectfully request that the City Council pass a resolution allowing seniors to sell at the Galt Marketplace once a month without any booth cost or fee charge. Thank you for hearing me out tonight.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for coming and speaking in public comment tonight. Mr. Hines, is there any information that Mr. Solis could comment on that at all? Don't we have a garage sale day or something? Maybe you can inform us here on this.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Yes, we do. We have a couple of different options. We have a Galt resident rate that's between $20 and $25 that I can remember it's around $25. We also have a first-time fee to come in and sell. It's around the same price. And regardless of your age, as long as you're a Galt resident and you can prove that you are, that we give you that fee. So we already have a reduced fee for our Galt residents.
Is there a certain amount of spaces that are allotted for that?
No, if you are a Galt resident, we get you in.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for that information. Does any of the council have a question for Armando while he's over here? No? Okay. Maybe this is something we can discuss outside of Mr. Hines, just to spitball some ideas or something, but, all right, any additional public comment?
Mr. Castle?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and I wanted to highlight Mayor Farmer. I've been pitching this idea around to different cities, and he actually answered the call like I was absolutely stunned. So there's three things we don't talk about nowadays: religion, politics, and guns. And one of the biggest things that we have right now is we have a lot of gun violence. There's also a lot of extra guns, and I have a solution that I'd like to propose for that. Let me get my notes. So my program is self-funded, self-regulated, so there's no taxpayer money, there's no taxes. There's no new taxes. So from a legal standpoint, it should be pretty easy to implement. Should be similar to the, when I was a fireman at the city of Galt, we did a pancake breakfast and as a fundraiser, so from a legal standpoint, it should be around that. So the main target would be to remove dangerous, unwanted guns and polymer guns. Many of the police officers I speak to, they are removing and confiscating more polymer guns than registered guns. And these guns can be printed and created on their own, and that is very terrifying. And if you think about it, when we buy, like on Amazon, we buy extra stuff and then we don't need it, right? So we gotta get rid of it. So we have a big issue coming up with guns, because with the pandemic, people are buying guns and hoarding them. So now they may be interested in selling them. So I would like to have a safe way of getting the bad guns out. And for what it's worth, I am a gun owner, as I told the mayor, and I'm not anti-gun by no means. I am concerned with guns getting into the wrong hands, as any responsible person would be. So the benefit would obviously be public safety, cop safety, and suicide prevention. 6% of deaths involving firearms are actually via suicide. And this would also help with domestic violence prevention and possibly de-escalate some of that, because you would have less firearms available for them. So currently I have $7,000 available for this program, and I would need, my request is for 10 minutes to present it. I will walk through how it works and how it benefits the city of Galt, and I would only need 10 minutes, I promise. And if it were to be put on the agenda, even for conditional consideration, because I understand there's a lot of legal stuff that goes into place. So even if it were to be considered on a conditional basis where we'd have to work behind the scenes with the city manager or the attorney, I'd be glad to do that, glad to volunteer my time to do that. But I'm very confident if I had a couple weeks and if it was on the actual schedule, I can raise about $14,000 for it, if not more. This is a very important thing for me as a firefighter, paramedic, and as you can see with the long hair and the beard, I'm retired. And one of the many reasons why I stepped away is, besides my dad died of cancer, contracted as being a firefighter, but I've had a lot of my colleagues kill themselves. And what people don't realize is there's a very big impact with suicide and gun violence. And when you're working in Stockton or wherever you're working and there's a drive-by and these individuals are killing children and they look like your kid, and it's very tough on you. So thank you for your time, and let me know if you have any questions.
Just to be clear for the public, for the staff, what you're asking is to facilitate maybe a meeting with the city manager to see about, this is a gun buyback program that you're proposing, right? Because you didn't state that.
Essentially, it's essentially a gun buyback program, but many buyback programs have issues with funding. So this will be self-funded, and I'll go through the funding thing. I'd rather do that with a presentation. And then you guys, I literally hand the keys over, and you guys do your own thing with it.
Okay, so what I'll do is, if Mr. Hines, if you would mind maybe giving Mr. Castle your number, and can reach out to him and open some dialogue with him on this, and then we can kind of see where it goes from there. Cool. Would that be sufficient for you, sir?
Yes, that's
okay.
Thank you.
All right, so if you want to just, before the meeting's over, or anytime, if you have to leave early, you can just walk it up and give it to him, your contact information, I'll have him reach out to you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any additional public comment? Okay. All right, moving on to item I, reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. We'll start with the vice mayor.
Nothing to report tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Papineau.
Also, nothing to report.
All right, Councilman Vandenberg.
Yes, I went to the Consumnes Groundwater Authority meeting yesterday. We discussed grant funding directions, pretty much resolved that. Public comment in the meeting was an elderly lady whose well ran dry, and it's not uncommon right now. Her well is 170 feet deep, and it can pull water from 160 feet, so basically it's done. And she's on an 8-month waiting list, so enjoy what you have if you're out there. It's not an easy problem. On the upside, they tested a water recharge well where they drilled a well 40 feet deep below the clay layer, but not into the aquifer, so that it still gives the earth the opportunity to filter the water. And the well took 360 gallons a minute, which is phenomenal. Unfortunately, it was pumping water out of the earth and back down to the earth for the test, but the plan is, and it may take a year or two, but the plan is to divert water during the rainy season for recharge of our aquifers, which is very exciting, especially since Galt is at the lower section of the aquifer, and if we're going to make improvements in our water storage, this will be one of the first places we find out. And that's all I have.
All right, Councilman Lozano?
Yeah, I attended a SACOG board meeting. Went over a lot of things, including a draft strategic plan and some workshops. But the one thing I want to point out is the Youth Leadership Academy that SACOG is putting on again this year. It is an opportunity for high school students to be a part of an academy that meets for 6 months. And the high school students are pulled from the entire 6-county region. And so our PIO has put this information out and connected with our high schools. So if anyone out there has a high school student interested in being a part of this Leadership Academy, it's been going for 4 years, and we've had 150 students go through it. What it does essentially is shows students how regional governments work, gives them the opportunity to be exposed to other regions, other counties in the region, and what some of the local issues are. And so I know we're going to be pushing that out to try to get a student or two from the Galt community. And so that was kind of the big takeaway from that meeting. And so we're going to be, again, working with the high school district and our economic development manager, Amy Mendez, to get the information out through the newsletter. It actually went out last week. So like I said, if you know anybody, have them sign up. The information is on the SACOG website, or you can link to our website and get the application. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Myself, I attended the Galt Youth Commission meeting last Monday, September the 12th. It was a good meeting. We had our elections. We appointed our youth commissioners to their new positions, and we had a few good agenda items, but it was a good meeting. I'm excited for the new year on that. We have some new people aboard, so it should be good. I was going to mention this at the end, but I just want to say I went to the celebration of life for Mr. Jim Spons. It was very well attended, which wasn't a surprise. It was a nice ceremony. Our supervisor, Don Tully, was there as well and spoke. And so just want to say thank you for the invite from the family on that. So moving on to our next item is our information consent calendar. It is recommended that items 1 through 6 be acted upon simultaneously unless a separate discussion and or action is requested by a council member. Do I have anything from council on the consent calendar? All right. I actually wanted to pull item J3 for a couple questions. Anything else from anybody else? Okay. Well, with that, then I will be looking for a motion to approve items J1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And those items are the minutes of the regular meeting from September 6th, 2022. Number 2 is receive and file warrants for the period ending September 7th, 2022. Item 4 is the adoption of a resolution of intention to annex into Community Facilities District number 2020-1 for Greenwood Cottages. Item number 5 is the award of construction contract for the Aquatic Center renovation and the competition pool replastering, CIP 53I. And item 6 is the correction and approval of the CIP budget appropriation. Do I have a motion to approve those 5 items?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Lozano and seconded by Vice Mayor Sandu. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau.
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Items approved 5-0. So I apologize because this was late in the day. This is the item here is the designating filing positions and disclosure categories for conflicts of interest. And my question was, so on the staff report, it has, Mr. Hines, it has the positions that were previously in there, and then we added a couple new ones, I guess. And then it gives you classifications on what those conflicts would be. Some of those are, real property ownership and things like that. But I had 2 questions on this, and one of them is, why is under commissions and committees, the Parks and Rec commissions on there? So if I'm understanding this correctly, our Parks and Rec commissioners are subject to conflict of interest. Why is that, and why no other commissions, and why that one only? Is this a question for you?
You want me to take? A lot of this was, it's an update that's basically done every 2 years. It's required by law, and essentially, city clerk has to look at it and figure out, okay, are there any new positions? Do we have any new classifications? And then where should we put them in as conflict filers? The Parks and Rec Commission, are they designated filers, Tina?
Yes.
Okay.
They receive a stipend.
Okay, so that's it. They receive a stipend. So for that reason, why is probably why they're different than treated differently than other commissions from the city's perspective. So there's 2 types of filers. You have statutory filers, which are required by state law in the government code, and then you have designated filers that the city itself designates. And I think that's the distinction that the city has historically made, because they receive some kind of financial remuneration. Thought it's fit for them to be a filer.
Okay. But I just thought it was weird that like the planning commission's not on there. I mean, planning commissioners
They
are,
also file.
but they're not on this list though.
They're probably statutory filers. So they're under the government code, they're required. This is going to be your designated,
Okay.
let's call it opt-in filers, but aren't necessarily required.
Okay.
Unless the city opts them in.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. So I was just confused why they were on there and the others weren't, and what was the deal. So, all right.
I mean, sorry to belabor the point, but that's also why the city council's not on there. City manager, city attorney, other people, because the law requires them to do it. These are just the electeds, or elective.
All right. Thank you. That makes sense. And again, I apologize for the late question. It was late in the day when I was skimming through this. And so, all right. Well, with that, I'll look for a motion to approve item J3, which is designating the filing positions and disclosure categories for conflicts of interest. Moved by Councilman Vandenberg, and I will second that. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau.
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Item approved 5-0. Moving on to item K, scheduled matters and notice of public hearing. Our first item tonight is going to be item K1, which is the 21 to 2029 Housing Element Implementation Program, HE-HH Residential Design Standards and Ordinance Incorporating Design Guidelines. Mr. Hoffman?
Mayor, members of the council, tonight, the 2021-2029 housing element contains several new goals and implementation measures which must be updated. There will be updates and new sections included within our municipal code, and this is just the start. But this was a good item to get going on. Thank you. So tonight, we're asking you to receive a staff presentation, open the public hearing, and then ultimately, upon closing, to adopt the ordinance before you. So the residential design guidelines, when the municipal code was adopted back in, I believe, 2014, it was done in-house, and it was done to the best of staff's ability, but there are several gaps where in the commercial standards, you do have something that kind of looks like what's before you tonight. Residential does not. There aren't any cohesive design standards. And although as staff, we do the best we can, when somebody comes to the front counter, you try to cull together all your planning knowledge and say, yeah, you should do this or you shouldn't do this. To have something comprehensive that we can hand somebody and say, this is what we want the community to look like. That's what we're trying to accomplish tonight. So within the residential design guidelines, again, the development code currently doesn't have this, but we're looking to create design guidelines that apply to the design of new residential subdivisions, to multifamily and clustered residential projects. The guidelines are intended to provide for guidance for vacant infill parcels and single-family homes that are proposed as replacement structures within established neighborhoods. And the proposed residential design guidelines are broken up into the following four categories. Subdivision design, that's the physical horizontal layout of a development. Infill development that we're seeing a lot of. This is particularly of interest to me, making sure that that infill development is consistent with the surrounding development that we see, the quality of it and how it overall looks. Single-family housing design, which typically goes to our planning commission for design review, and multifamily and cluster housing design. Within our residential design guidelines for subdivision design, the guidelines as you have them identifies the development of neighborhoods, not just a subdivision, but how does this overall look within this community? Integrating open space where needed, where you see on the south of town, whether it be Dry Creek or some of our open space areas along the Gulch near the community park on the east side of town. Open space that's meaningful. Edges of the community, whether it be gated communities, but making sure there's continuity. The design guidelines don't say you can't do a gated community, but it should make sense. Roads should be through. Pedestrian traffic should be through. If you could do a gated community, maybe a Summerfield makes sense, and we have several private developments that make sense. They don't have a main street going through them, and we're looking at that. Definitely looking at project scale, making sure it makes sense within that context, site planning of the development, and then getting into what the projects look like, actual exterior finished materials, windows, garages, carports, how they lay out within the overall subdivision design. When we start talking about infill development, we're talking about compatibility. We're talking building design, visual impact, height compared to what's the surrounding neighborhood looks like. Definitely a lot of scale, a lot of massing and continuity of design. We've talked a lot about that over the last year and wanting to make sure that you're not putting a 3-story building right next to a 1-story building. That doesn't make sense. Outdoor living areas, making sure quality spaces for the community to use. Again, getting into exterior finished materials and exterior colors. Within the portion where we started getting into residential single-family housing design, we currently take single-family homes when a subdivision comes forward and we take it to the Planning Commission. And we've heard a lot of comments from the Planning Commission over the years. Variety in architectural detailing, meet setbacks to providing variation. Definitely an interesting pedestrian frontscape of houses, not having all the houses right at like 20 feet, but staggering them so you see some movement. Focus on house entries. Garages should be subordinate and back from porches and pedestrian features. Additions should be consistent with the overall design of the house. It shouldn't be, well, you have kind of this ranch-style house, and now you've added Spanish-style architecture. That doesn't make sense. Make sure there's a continuity and a compatibility to that house. Alterations should recreate the existing style. We take a look at windows, doors, and porches, again, pedestrian scope, and there's a number of images and graphics within this, so you start to see, okay, what could housing design look like? And that's really within the ordinance on page 17, or 7, 8, 9, 10. So you could start to see these images, and it's something that we could pass along to developers as far as what we're looking for. When you come to multifamily design, this was really a big item. This is what our housing element is really drawing to. Right now, if somebody came into town and wanted to build an affordable housing project, we don't have design standards. So they would build, in theory, whatever they wanted. We don't have any standards to provide them. So they would build that. With these design guidelines, we're able to create what the look and feel that we actually want to see. And that's not to say that you're not making the project affordable, but you can break up the horizontal and vertical planes of a building by looking at different site planning, where parking and driveways are coming, your access points into a development, and definitely taking a look at architecture, facade and roof articulation. Again, scale. Scale is a huge part of these guidelines, as well as the pedestrian feel. Taking a look at balconies, porches, patios, where our access points are to front doors, and within the overall development, how does it access the surrounding areas? Stairways, accessory structures. That could be detached garages or carports. And so it's a lot, but tonight I'm asking you to approve this. It gives staff the tools we need to move the city forward. It's the first part of some of the implementation measures that the housing element requires. And it seemed like this was a good start to get going. What we're really looking to do over the next 7 years, the housing element requires a lot of implementation measures, and we want to show the state that we're using good faith, that we're implementing the policies of the housing element, and we're moving the housing element forward. So this is our first step. If there's any questions, I might be able to answer.
All right, thank you, Craig. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing while we have this discussion. So public hearing is now open on this item. And I just had a couple questions real quick, Craig. So when you say guidelines, I mean, guidelines is pretty much like a protocol that we would follow, right? This is not just, I want to be very clear that this isn't just like, what's the difference between a recommendation and a guideline when it comes to something like this?
Well, I would say a lot of the language, they're big planning concepts. I mean, there should be this house shouldn't be 1 story tall, and this house right next to it shouldn't be 3 story. They're guidelines that help us create a look and feel that mirrors the tradition and history of this community. There's a lot of shoulds. There's not shalls. It allows staff a tool to say, this is what we're looking for, but it also allows for the flexibility that between staff, the planning commission, and the city council, if somebody comes with some innovative design and it's a project that you want, there's the flexibility to do that, but you still have the specifics within here to say, this is what we're looking.
Well, and that's really what my concern is, though, is because I feel like if we're putting forth a set of parameters to follow, and this should be like the marching orders of the planning commission when stuff gets brought, like this is what we look at and say this is the set of standards we want to kind of go with all the time. I feel like I understand that you can have flexibility, but I also feel like if you start going away from that, then it's like, well, we allowed this, then why not just allow that? And pretty soon you're not following them at all. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like some of these in here are very, like, for example, the verbiage here because there's a couple of them I just want to bring up. So one of them here is, it says that gated communities and other residential developments designed to appear as continuous walk-off areas disconnected and isolated from the rest of the community are strongly discouraged. So, I mean, if we're going to basically tell our planning commission that one of our guidelines is to strongly discourage a gated neighborhood, but yet we have one that we just approved, and that would leave, which makes me think that, if we build Summerfield, it's out in the middle of farmland. Well, when another subdivision comes in, which is inevitable going to happen, and they build next to that, or on this side of it, or whatever, you're gonna have it's gonna be this awkward, that's not going to assimilate very well because you see what I'm saying, and that's what these are about, really, right? So that one, and then there's another one here talking about the use of cul-de-sacs should be avoided whenever possible. I thought that one was bizarre because I think a lot of people like cul-de-sacs, and I think we would encourage using cul-de-sacs because they're low traffic neighborhoods. I, had a house on a cul-de-sac years back, and we really missed that. So those are a couple ones that kind of are bizarre to me. And again, if you're just saying, well, these are just recommendations, these are just kind of ideas, then I kind of gets a little muddy with like, is it a guideline that this is parameters we're going to kind of really kind of try to stick to, or it's just, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, let me start with Summerfield. That's a great example. So what happens if a subdivision comes in to either side? The land use doesn't allow it. The current land use surrounding Summerfield is 2-acre minimum parcels. So there isn't gonna be a subdivision next to it.
Yeah, but neither was Summerfield before we changed it, right?
Well, let's not change it.
Kind of already broken that ground.
Yeah, I know. And as far as cul-de-sacs go, developers love cul-de-sacs, but you wouldn't want to create a subdivision that had so many cul-de-sacs that it starts pushing traffic onto other streets that you don't have a comprehensive circulation pattern. And absolutely, people want cul-de-sacs, but you wouldn't do an entire development of cul-de-sacs. It wouldn't function. And I don't know of any development on our map right now that is 100% cul-de-sac.
Well, no, and I think...
And there are features where, we have cul-de-sacs that back up to Carillion because you don't want all those roadways coming on to Carillion. That makes sense.
And I'm not trying to split atoms here, but I think that like the way the wording is, it's like the cul-de-sac should be discouraged. It'd be different. It says, that a certain percentage is, I don't know, like where Mr. Brosman lives, there's a lot of cul-de-sacs in his neighborhood, the first Emerald Park. I don't know, some of the language is, I just worry because the language seems very like this should be discouraged or we should not use these, and this is an ordinance. This is like, it's supposed to have teeth or else what's the point? I don't know. I'd like to hear from other, go ahead, Paul.
And then, Mr. Hoffman, these design subdivision, new subdivision, they are for easy. When they can come to the design, and especially you guys working on that. But small infill development, it's not going to fare with who's going to develop. For example, in the middle of the downtown, somebody have a 3-quarter, 4-quarter, they want to make the house double story. And it's not going to match with the neighborhood because contemporary, everybody wants, if anybody wants a new house, and then they're going to looking at the city, and the city can say, okay, this is not in the design, you cannot build it. Because like in small parcel and infill, the surrounding already built it. And it's very hard, can be infill if somebody come in the new one, they want to develop that small. And I do understand on the subdivision, 10 acre, 20 acre, 50 acre, when they design, they can give you a different. Well, that's kind of a little bit my concern. Because we do not want these people, citizen of here, they have some lots. At one is something develop a new house or duplex or threeplex. And I don't feel comfortable, that person living here and then he have the cost. The small project is going to be a lot of cost. And then the other thing is cul-de-sac. And what is the distance with the fire department, say, if they have the fire department code, what's the distance, cul-de-sac, you cannot more than bigger. And that's the fire department already have the requirement. But if we're going to eliminate, or we can say, oh, you cannot build, then that's also is not kind of fair, because most of people, they want their house so their kids can play outside.
Sure.
So they don't want to be thorough stage. But we have to give the opportunity to the our, especially our citizen, what they intend to do.
Again, these are big picture design guidelines that we use to help craft a subdivision. But we're getting really into the weeds.
Well, there's some into the weeds language in here, though. That's
There-
the reason why I'm bringing it up.
Well, there is, but again, it's guidelines. There's a lot of shoulds. There's not shalls. And one of the reasons why there aren't shalls is you make it a shall, and you have to do it. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to start asking somebody to do a variance from that language. I think what's here is enough language to give us some guidance to direct people what a design should look like.
Let me ask you this, Craig. Is the word guidelines required to meet the thing what we're doing? Because look, I think I'm struggling with the word because if I go to my job and they say the guidelines for you to, if I'm like a corrections officer and they say the guidelines to handle a prisoner is this, you follow those. Those are not like do them if you want to. So I feel like a recommendation is more of a term that would give out more of like, these are just what we recommend, but you could deter from that. Whereas guidelines seems a little more, and I know again, might seem kind of a sticking, like what's the big deal? But again, this is an ordinance and it's planning, and it's, when you go to planning meetings and they're talking about, they'll kill a whole meeting with just talking about the way a light fixture is in the front of a garage and stuff. There's those right? So you get into the weeds with things, and there's a lot of recommendations about what should be discouraged or shouldn't be a rule. Don't use this, don't use that, don't do this. There's a lot of things in here. I'm like, wow, really? I think these will be broken all the time, or not followed all the time. I guess not say broken, but
I mean, if you want to call it residential design recommendations.
I think that would be more appropriate.
Doesn't change how I implement.
I just didn't know if that language, if the guidelines just seems a little more, I don't know, I mean,
guidelines is a pretty standard term, but if
it's just,
you don't have
I
to
know.
use it.
Maybe
I mean,
nobody
you
else
could,
has a problem except me.
you could call it residential design recommendations. It won't change how I would use it as a tool.
I don't know. It's just me. I'm not trying to, derail the thing. I think the overall intent of this is good. I mean, this is what, right? We want to have, we don't want somebody coming, like Paul said, and building a 2-story house on a small infill lot when the neighbors are, that's just not going to work. And we have to have something where we can say, I'm sorry, sir, you can't do that because these are what our planning commission is being recommended to follow.
Right.
But we also have to give them, we have to make it where they have teeth if they want to enforce something, but they also have flexibility if they don't want to enforce something. And I think with the guidelines, it's too far to the middle. I think something like recommendation would be, I don't know.
And especially there's a planning commissioner's job, when any design commit, if they don't like it, the planning commission make the recommendation, okay, this is the area, they have a different surrounding, and we want to be like this. There's planning commissions usually take their responsibility. But I totally understand. We want to be our city beautiful. But I'm talking like the same thing, affordable housing. State was pushing, and we are pushing. If somebody have a small lot and they're pushing, they have a 25 unit in acre. That's why the state push. And if we say, okay, this is the guidelines, you cannot do this thing, and then how we match their standard, then we can deny that, and the state can say, why you not allow them, because we allow 25 unit in acre. Just
Well, if it meets the zoning code as far as density, you're allowed to build that. I mean, certain land uses are going to allow specific things that can be built. I think what this does is helps us with an aesthetic. Again, we don't have any standards in our zoning code. And I could throw a monkey wrench into this, and if you don't want to approve it, don't. I mean,
no.
I mean that's
I
another
like it.
option
I like
in which
it.
you just say, hey, we're not going to have any standards.
We don't have the problem to prove it, but that's why my opinion is make better than how the thing, make a little bit easier way to, these guidelines. If you can change guideline to, I think I like it. So that's why it's not, because when it's guideline, it's most likely, their word, if anybody comes, this is the guidelines, you need to, because these guidelines can be a little bit expensive if somebody from this city, it's small lot. That's my concern. I have no concern about the subdivision. If somebody, making it 10, 20, or 50 acre subdivision, we should do it. But we have to some kind of flexibility. These citizens, they have, if they want somebody remodel their house or something, then they can say, okay, next to this is a Spanish house, you cannot do that. Everybody want a contemporary, everybody want a little bit new look. So that's kind of,
Sure.
I mean, just the definition of guidelines is a general rule. That's the definition. It's a general rule. So I think, again, I'm totally support this tonight, but I would just ask if the council would consider just changing the word to recommendation. I think it gives a little more flexibility to the planning commission without looking like we're just gonna, I don't know. And I know, it seems like I'm really getting in the weeds here, but it's like shall and should, and I mean, words do matter. And I just don't like the word guideline. It's too specific for the kind of stuff I'm reading in here, to me. I don't know.
May I ask a clarifying question? Is it because the word guidelines, is it because the actual standards themselves obviously are subject to some discretion by the planning commission, and so you want a word that reflects that choice the planning commission has?
Yes,
Okay.
because the word guideline seems to set forth more of this is really what we want you to follow most of the time. It's a general rule. This is a general rule of the planning. And I'm reading like 4 or 5 of these, and I'm like, they're going to detour from these all the time. These are not something that's going to get followed, so it's like it defeats the purpose.
Okay, let me propose this, because Craig, as I'm reading this, these were requirements that were put on us by essentially HCD, right, through our housing element.
It was, but whether the term is recommendation or design or guideline.
Yeah, but I think what the housing element required was objective design standards.
Correct.
So I'm wondering if we could just use the word standards, just to also, make it clear to HCD and consistent with our housing element. And that's why I asked you the question, because if the idea is there's a little bit of interpretation within that, that's fine. But we can set up as a standard, and then they can interpret within those guidelines, those design elements, what they feel. But I guess my concern is we get a little too far afield of our own housing element.
I think standard fits. I agree with that, because my problem with recommendations is that just inherently says I can say no. So I like that if we're going to get away from the guidelines a little bit. But as a tool, as Greg and I discussed earlier this week, from having been on the Planning Commission and sat while we took people's designs that they came with and basically dismantled them and rearranged them and changed everything in a meeting. At first I was like, we can do that? And I think this will be very helpful so that they come, so that we know we're in the ballpark when they bring the project to the Planning Commission, so that it kind of eliminates that wholesale rearranging of their plan. So,
And we've tried to change the process in which I think we just had a project come forward, and we had a workshop on it, not at the end of the project, but we just got it in 2 months. We've had it 2 months. We're just starting the environmental, but we've already had a workshop on it to have the Planning Commission go, yeah, I can understand the concept and it makes sense, because we're not trying to do something when we're 6 months down the road. Now we're having a workshop. Well, it's too late to have a workshop when you're 6 months down the road. If you're going to make some wholesale changes, you have to do it up front. I think this is one tool. The other tool is making sure that we're having a lot of dialogue at the Planning Commission level. And then by the time you get to a public hearing, maybe 6 months down the road, you've already worked out a lot of these issues. And then we're coming to the City Council, doing the same thing, having a workshop and being able to talk through these projects before we get to a public hearing. I think it's a 1-2 kind of punch. It's one's process and one's some standards that we can use.
Yeah, and again, if all the verbiage was just like, we should do a good job with making, keeping conformity with existing, and we should do a good job with making things accessible and making it pedestrian friendly and all that. Those are just vague general terms. Like, that's just a big picture, right? That's not really any specifics, but there's just a lot of specifics in this, and a lot of specifics to say that they're just like, well, here they are, we're recommending this, but you don't have to follow them kind of thing. That's what I'm saying. I think it needs to be one or the other. It's things that we're going to really make people hold their feet to, or hold their feet to the fire on, or we're not. And if we're not, and we're just going to, basically we're just checking a box here and letting the planning commission do as they always have, where they have they have a lot of discretion to make choices, then I just think we should use a different word. And I mean, standard, I guess, is okay. I mean, it's kind of, I could probably live with that. So, I mean, if everybody in agreement, I would compromise on that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear if there's any public comment on this.
Yeah, we do have the public hearing open, so does anybody want to speak on this item? Do we have any? No, it's a public hearing, you can just come up. No. Public hearing is open. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
I mean, we can't require them. It's our procedure to have them. So,
Can I backfill one?
yeah, you could supply the card. It's easier for the city clerk when she's taking minutes.
I thought when we had a public hearing that people could just come and speak, they didn't have to do a speaker card.
There's more flexibility, but I still think for the city clerk with minutes, it's
Okay.
it's just
Yeah,
a good practice.
Understood, okay.
Well, when we talk about the standards, I like the idea. I mean, I don't want to wake up one morning and I've got a 5-story apartment building across the street from me. But I just want to speak to, I like the idea of the continuity, but this week for me, I've been reading a lot of municipal code. It's hard to read. This is pretty good. It's not too bad. I've got pictures and stuff like that. But anytime we're doing something municipal code or the codes, I think we have to be aware of what is the ability for the citizens who are going to need that code. What's the ability for them to be able to read the code, understand the code, and then go back to whoever the body is. I think that's important. And that's the city council, looking in that and saying, I think that that fits the bill for the document itself and how people will deal with it. And then I like the ones where there's a simple process. When somebody just says, that's just not what I want to do, I feel like the government's got they're choking me to death here. What's the process? What's a fair process where you could say, well, okay, like here it says that I have to have a certain roof. But that certain roof, I know like in my neighborhood, the roofs that we have are tile, and I switched it out, and I talked to my neighbors about it, and a couple of them said, no, that doesn't keep the look. But there's nothing that really stopped me from doing that. But like I told them, hey, my roof leaks, and I can't find roofers that can fix it. And if they all said if you go to, like asphalt shingles, you're going to solve a lot of problems, and it did to do that. So I don't have anything specific on what you have, but those are just ideas about easy for the public to read, friendly for the public to read, like you're saying, a process when things get stuck, some kind of a fair process. Then I think you become one of the other elements of the city, which is you're friendly. You don't feel like the government's forcing you to do things. And I think that friendly thing, I think you'll get a lot more people to go, yeah, I see it. And it's that spirit of cooperation. But I don't know, it's not a bad document. I'm not complaining about the document. I mean, there's some things in there, it's like wrought iron banister going up versus a wood banister. I can see it. If everybody's got a wood banister, I get it. But if somebody says, yeah, but I can't grab the wood banister, well, you need a process for it, is all I'm saying. Things are always going to be different. People will cut, eventually 15 years down the road, somebody's going to paint their house a really wild color. Not a lot you can do about it, other than if you make friends with your neighbors and you say, wow, I'll buy your paint if you just don't paint it quite so loud. But anyway, that's my public input. As always, there's a lot of good discussion. I like what the council's doing. I thank everybody for that.
Thank you, Mr. Wenzel. Anybody else? Okay. We don't have any online.
None.
Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yeah.
First, Craig, thank you so much for having the forethought to do this. A couple quick questions. Thank you for the conversation earlier today. Is this similar to what other cities do and it works there? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, that's good. Other cities also have a design board, yes, that work this, what our planning commission is doing. They have a design board with an architect, a citizen, someone maybe from the planning commission, and the city council as just an example to help resolve these issues before it even gets to the planning commission, yeah?
Some do that. It's really a volume of applications, though. I would say in Galt, with the amount of applications we get, it would probably be tough to have another board. I mean,
Fair point. That's
if
a
you
fair
sat back
point,
and said, well, we want the planning commission to be a little bit more diverse, maybe the next time, some openings come up, having an architect or an engineer on there. We've got a great planning commission right now. They reflect the values of the full community. But I think it's something to keep in mind. What are the qualifications of folks that are sitting on the planning commission?
Okay, and then, again, per our conversation, I agree with with my other council members in that I wish there's several instances where it says should be designed, should maximize, in the National Electrical Code, when it says you shall bond with such, and then it says with such and such screw in such and such place, it's very defined, very definitive. I think personally, I wish there was a word, something in between shall and should, which is hard, but I think shall would suffice because what's after it is not harshly defined or definitive.
You mean the word should? You're okay
No,
with should?
no, we substitute the word should with shall in multiple instances because what's after it is not defined specifically. In the National Electrical Code, and don't get me wrong, I support this. This is my just opinion. And that's because it's not defined directly afterwards, it's still open for interpretation, but it gives stronger language. But I'll just leave that right there. On one of the things I did notice, it says all homes within a quarter mile of the neighborhood shopping opportunities and neighborhood parks and public facilities. Is that realistic? It seems that it's not something that necessarily can happen physically, and often developers just pay the Quimby fees and there is none. So I question that statement a little bit. And then overall, again, I like what you're doing. You're trying to marry the new with the old and make things pleasant and walkable, enjoying the outdoors. There was a comment in there about cul-de-sacs and then in appropriate areas having a walk-through, but I was a little concerned that a vehicle could get through there. Is there going to be some sort of natural restriction or bollard to help prevent mischievous behavior?
And there are on A Street. I think A Street's a good example of where that was done, to where you had the cul-de-sacs come in, the wall kind of closes in a little bit. You do have the bollards, and you don't have an ability for a car to drive on those pedestrian features.
Okay. Was there any discussion with the police department when dreaming up this or when it was written?
It was routed to all the departments.
Okay.
Specifically on that item. That didn't come up.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
I just have a couple of comments, and thank you for your time today, Mr. Hoffman, answering my questions, and some of the other questions my colleagues brought up are very good points, so I won't reiterate them. I did also have that concern about cul-de-sacs and where they would be placed, and I think A Street is a great example of what, where those can be used in the walkthroughs. I did like, the one comment I do want to make is I did like the fact that this document really sheds light on traffic other than vehicle traffic, right? So really encouraging pedestrian and cycling and things like that. And then there are different parts of our city, and you can almost kind of see the time in which areas of our city were developed where weren't real thoughtful of modes of transportation other than vehicles. Not necessarily in favor of telling everybody to get out of their car, but we do, in many parts of our town, I would argue most parts of our town, you have families walking in the evenings, in the morning, many people on cycles or cycling, bicycling out there and doing those sorts of things. So I really like that. I'm glad that we now have, or potentially in a few minutes, we'll have another tool for you to use to kind of back up what we want and not necessarily dictate what happens to the level of government overreach, but certainly our citizens have a standard, and this outlines that. So, and I would be supportive of changing it from guidelines to a different option as well.
Greg, there's one part in here I really like that where you talk about natural amenities, mature trees, et cetera, and similar features should be preserved and incorporated into new developments. See, that's one I really like because, like an example over behind where Councilman Vandenberg lives in the Arcadia project, there's some really mature 100-year-old or more oak trees in there that are just going to get wiped out. And it's in something like this in here where you can give the planning commission some teeth and say, no, you know what, we really want you to keep because it's part of our design standards, and we like that, and we want, you can kind of have. So I just wanted to point that out that I like that. I was thinking when he was when Councilman Lozano was talking, how about recommended design standards? You have the word standards actually in the staff report, kind of here at the beginning. It says design standards. So recommended design standards seems to kind of encompass what we're talking about, where it's recommended and it's a standard. So it has some sort of a standard, means some level of quality or level of whatever that we kind of try to achieve. That's what I would recommend. I'm just throwing that out there. But if we could make it say something like that, I would support it and we can move forward.
Can we call it recommended residential design standards? I need
Sure.
the residential
Yeah.
because.
No, absolutely. That's, yep.
Yeah.
Would that be okay with everybody? Okay.
Sounds great.
So we still have the hearing open. So if there's no other public comment on this, I'm gonna close the public hearing. No other comment? Okay, I'm gonna close the public hearing.
Mr. Hoffman, just for the comment, thank you for your hard work. And very quick, I just wanted the clarification on the design review board. We still have a design review board just on the staff, nobody from the outside, right?
Depending on the level of design review, some stuff stays at staff level, but most of the stuff goes to the planning commission. If it's multifamily, if it's the single-family homes with the tracks, those all go to planning commission. And if it's commercial, large scale enough, they serve as your design review board.
Thank you.
You shouldn't trust me. I'm not an architect. I'm a land planner.
Well, unless there's further discussion from council, I would like to propose a motion to introduce and waive the first reading by title only an ordinance of the City Council of Galt, amending Galt Municipal Code Chapter 18.16 Residential Zoning District, adding Chapter 18.16.005 with the language change that Mr. Hoffman recommended is the recommended residential design standards.
Second.
So moved by Mayor Farmer, seconded by Vice Mayor Sandu. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau.
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Items approved 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Appreciate it.
Thank you. This is a big deal. It's tough on a lot of this stuff. Is it perfect? I don't know.
It's a good thing. We like
Perfect's
it.
tough. It gets us further down the road for sure.
All right, moving on to item L, a regular calendar. Item L1 is from the City Manager's Office, termination of local emergency and urgency ordinance regarding the transient occupancy tax. Mr. Hines?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The termination of local emergency and urgency ordinance regarding our TOT What we're recommending tonight is that the council adopt a resolution approving the termination of the local emergency. And I'll tell you a little bit about where we've been so far. And on March 17th, 2020, Resolution 2020-8, the city declared a local emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Pursuant to that emergency declaration on May 19th, 2020, the council adopted an urgency ordinance temporarily suspending temporarily suspending payments of the transient occupancy taxes from those folks that are liable for that tax. That urgency ordinance expressly deferred payment of TOT by local hoteliers to the end of the quarter following the termination of the local COVID-19 emergency. Now that travel has resumed and travel-related restrictions have been lifted, Council directed staff at its June 7th, 2022 meeting to bring this item back, the cessation of the local emergency, in order to cease TOT deferral and require full repayment by the end of the next quarter following the cessation. Cessation of the emergency was chosen as it was administratively preferred over adopting or amending a new ordinance and having subsequent readings. As of June 2022, our finance department estimated that roughly $280,000 in TOT had been deferred by the hotels operating in Galt. If the city were to end the local emergency effective October 1st, 2022, the hoteliers would have until the end of the next quarter, i.e. March 31st, 2023, to pay the outstanding TOT owed to the city. Also, by ending the local emergency, temporary outdoor dining modifications that were allowed will also cease. The program was seldom utilized and only much earlier in the pandemic, and since then, the program has not been used at all. There are no other current programs in effect that would cease by cessation of the local emergency. The proposed resolution would cease the local emergency proclaimed by a resolution to be effected October 1st, 2022. The March 4th, 2020 state of emergency in California will remain in effect at the state level, and nothing would preclude council from redeclaring an emergency again should conditions warrant. And so, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, we are again recommending adopting a resolution approving the termination of the local emergency and corresponding urgency ordinance regarding transient occupancy taxes.
All right, thank you, sir. Do we have any public comment on this item?
No public comment.
Okay. Any comments from council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to recuse myself from this voting. So if you can give me a minute, I'm going to go outside and
Sure.
call me when it's done.
Yep, thank you, sir. All right, any comments from council? No?
A very thorough understanding of this in our June discussion, and
Okay.
no questions.
All right, well, it's been a long 2-3 years. How long? 2, 1, 2, 3? Yeah, 2.5. All right. Well, with that, we'll be looking for a motion to adopt a resolution approving the termination of the local emergency and corresponding urgency ordinance regarding the transient occupancy tax.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Papineau,
Second?
seconded by Councilmember Vandenberg. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Papineau?
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Farmer?
Aye. A resolution approved 4-0. If someone could please let the vice mayor back in. Thank you. All right, moving on to item M, communication. Do we have any this evening?
None this evening.
All right. Item N, city clerk's report.
None this evening.
All right. Item O, comments by staff. Mr. Hines.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The first thing I wanted to mention is that Biso Road is scheduled to reopen to traffic starting Saturday, October 1st, barring any weather or unforeseen delays. However, not all construction will be complete at that time, as various components of construction will continue and may result in traffic delays depending on the day-to-day construction activities. But once the road reopens fully, please use caution when driving through this area. So I wanted to make sure the public was aware of that. We've also put that out on social media as well. So that's some good news about Biso Road. The other thing I wanted to mention is that our Galt University is going well. We are in I believe this is our 4th week coming up tomorrow night. We've heard from my office and with an overview of the council, HR, and the city manager's office. We then moved to community development and economic development, and that was a good turnout there. We had an overview of the city's finances at our last meeting, and we have public works up tomorrow night. And so I also got a request from one of our attendees to ask CSD if fire could put on a presentation as well. And so I've reached out to General Manager Green, and so I'll be reaching out to Chief Rodriguez as well. And let's go with, since we're on a roll here with community development, why don't we start there?
Did you just say you weren't scared of the police chief?
Until we get out in the parking lot. I'm fast. Thank you again tonight. That was a big step as we start to work on our implementation measures for the housing element. Next meeting, accessory dwelling units. So that's going to be an interesting discussion, and we'll see how that goes, if we can get through that in one night or if we have to continue that. But you're going to start to see a lot more implementation measures from the housing element, and it's a big deal that we show the state that we're committed to that program. So thank you all. Have a great night.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Next up is our illustrious police chief, Brian Kalinowski.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This past week, we lost CAPS member Jim Connick, as you know, and there's going to be some events next week. He's going to have a viewing on Monday, September 26th down in Stockton. On Tuesday, September 27th, there's going to be an internment here at the Galt Arno Cemetery at 11 a.m. That's one where the department is going to be intimately involved. We're going to be doing a flag presentation. Our honor guard will be present. We'll be doing a last call for him and his service with the Galt Police Department. There's also, for those interested, a memorial at St. John's Lutheran Church up in Sacramento on L Street on Saturday, October 1st at 1 p.m. Thank you. So it's an unfortunate loss for the organization. In addition to his CAPS work, you appointed him to serve as a member of the Measure R subcommittee. So he was always serving the community in some capacity, and so we're sorry to his family, and our prayers are with the family for his loss. And then secondarily, I'd like to thank the department for their hard work this past week. Has been overwhelming for all the things that have gone on. We had some significant criminal events occur. We're working on homicide with additional shooting victims, and it's a very complex case, very chaotic. We did our best to push what we could, in addition to other things popping up on the fly for us. And so I do want to thank the staff publicly for all their hard work, people working a lot of hours to make the investigation go, and I expect that to continue for some time until we can get some resolution as to what actually happened out there, at least clear resolution. And then Yarrow, Kevin Ton's canine, passed after a long life that was supported by the Foothills Canine Association. And so we had an opportunity to pay our last respects to Yarrow, the vet up in Rancho, and so we participated in that. along with the Ton family who was present. I think those are the three highlights that I have for tonight. So much going on, I probably forgot a few things.
Chief, can you tell me again the service at the cemetery? What time is
Yes,
that?
I'm sorry, and I missed the time probably trying to get it off of here. Excuse me 1 second, I'll give it to you. It's at 11 a.m. next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief. Economic Development Manager Amy Mendez.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Just wanted to update you briefly on the business grant program. We continue to receive applications. I'm working with the chamber. Their ambassadors group has been going out and handing out flyers to local businesses. So we are going to extend that deadline to September 30th. I'll be announcing that this week to let some of the business community know who haven't had a chance to apply. I believe right now we're at just over 500,000 that we have in grants out to the businesses, so that's great news for us. We're wrapping up the nonprofit program as well, and within the next couple of months, you'll start to see some of the strategic plan initiatives come back to you with regard to incentives, business incentive programs that we're going to be putting together, revisiting some that we had in the past, and also looking at a potential fee deferral program for some of the new commercial businesses that, or industrial, I should say, that are going to be constructing in town. So there's some of the strategic plan items that we're going to be trying to push through within the next couple of months. And the funding that's left over from the business grant will be coming back to City Council as well to kind of discuss options with what's left in that program. As you'll recall, I think we allocated 1.3 million roughly. We're at a little over 500,000. I do think that we'll probably have, another 15, 20 hopefully grants that we can get. And once we know what that balance is, we'll return to council with some options on what can be used with the remaining funds. And that's all I have, unless you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, let's go with our Finance Director, Matt Boring.
Good evening. I just wanted to share that we were notified earlier this month that we received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. It's the first time that the city has received this award, and it was due to the hard work of our Budget and Revenue Manager, Carlos Solario, and our other city staff working on the budget, so we're very excited for that. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Very good. Let's hear from Deputy Public Works Director John Griffin. John is the newest of our executive team.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, I'll make it really short. City Manager touched on the main item about Bosso Road, so I have actually nothing else to report. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sure the community will be very excited to hear that news too.
Yes, yes. And forgive my mispronunciation of it. I call it Biso. I should have called it Basso. My apologies. And last, but certainly not least, number one in your programs, number one in your hearts, Armando Solis, our Parks.
I highly doubt that, but
Parks and Recreation.
Mayor and City Council. At the last council meeting, I informed you that I was meeting with the Meals on Wheels program administrators, and they've agreed to open up our cafe. We will have dining in the Cibola Center starting October 10th. That's the earliest they could start it because they're starting some other programs earlier, but they have committed to us to starting October 10th. So we'll make sure we put that out in our newsletter, put it out on Facebook, and get all that information out. Also, our seniors, our Commission on Aging has taken over our bingo, so that has been a hit. This is the second week that they've done that. It seems to be going very well. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
There was going to be an update about the tree.
Would you like an update on?
Yeah, please.
Can I put up the PowerPoint, please? So, Famasi Oak Preserve is, thank you, is located on C Street. It's just west of Valley Oak School. So the preserve you can see here, it's not a park, it's just an area. You have a walking path, and then you have a couple of benches there with all the oaks. So at the end of June, this tree here right in the middle cracked right in half. You can see that crack here. And it was endangering the homes just to the west of that, of falling on top of it. So we had to take that down, and we had to take it down quickly. We called our tree contractor out. He came out, dropped that tree. I believe the charge was $7,000, and that was just to leave it there. I didn't want to pay extra we didn't have the money, we didn't have the funding to do that. So I asked him just to leave that there, and that we'd come back and pick it up. My thought process is that we would convert some of that wood into benches and tables and things like that. Facebook came up with a great project name for this. This is the Armando Special. It's not my name, that is from Mr. Snow and Mr. Pham. So thank them, because it is a very special project. So this is what it looks now. We've taken away all the branches, all the extra stuff that cannot be used for those tables. But this is what's left, and some people are concerned that it's an eyesore. I understand that it is, but I want to repurpose that wood for those tables. So things that we want to do, we're going to have these aren't the exact ones, but we want to build benches from that wood to show what was there. And the stump down at the bottom left, one of our residents came up, and we were able to make contact, and he's going to do all this for us for free. He's going to haul away for free. The delay's been is that he purchased a forklift to make this project easier to load it and unload it from his trailer. Unfortunately, it needed a new carburetor. He's been working on that. He saw some posts on Facebook, reached out to us, and we're going to use our backhoe to load up his trailer. That was supposed to start yesterday, but with the rains, as you saw, it's all mud there, and we don't want to sink any of that equipment because those tree stumps are heavy. So hopefully we'll start on Thursday if it doesn't rain anymore. If not, Monday of next week. And that kind of goes for the update. Is that okay?
We appreciate the update. People will be happy to hear that as well. We're full of great news tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, indeed. So thank you, sir. Well done. That's some great looking furniture. The other thing I just wanted to close with, I think we're all done, is that I'm so happy that we're using the word rain in our conversations nowadays. So thank you, Armando, for that. Mr. Mayor, that concludes our comments. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for the information updates. Moving on to item P, comments by city council members of future agenda items. We'll start with Vice Mayor. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank you for all the staff giving us a detailed and very clean reports. Thank you for their hard work. And I also like to thank you, everyone, have a public comment. Thank you for anybody in this chamber spending whole time. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for the media. There is a couple things I would like to report. I attended the chamber luncheon, Papa's and Wings. Always a great time to network local businesses. I spent time with the Commissioner on Aging today, Andrea Johnson, delivering meals and meal to the seniors. I thank her for reaching out to me. I hope we are able to continue this great program. I also attended the annual Farm to Fork dinner. It was a nice, cool evening with the good food and drinks. Thank you to the Galt, Egg Boosters, and all of the sponsors. It's very sad. We lost two great community members recently. Mr. Jim Spons has left a legacy here in Galt. And Galt and CAPS member Jim Connix was a great community member and volunteer. Thank you both of these great men for giving so much back to our community. I send my condolences to their family and loved ones. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all.
All right. Thank you, sir. Councilman Papineau.
Mr. Ballet, my regrets that work got in the way. I hope your first ice cream social back went well. So, and that and much other progress I'm happy to hear. And thank you and your commission and Mr. Lee and everybody else for pushing that stuff. And thank you, Dan Shockley, for reaching out to me and getting the ball rolling. I'm glad we were able to get that proclamation done. It certainly was educational to me, and I think probably everybody else gets a little bit of eye-opening too. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Vandenberg.
Thank you, Mayor. My condolences to everybody that lost someone special, both to the community and to themselves. It's never a good thing to hear, and it seems too common of late. I also attended the Farm to Fork. It was well attended. It was a bit chilly, but I didn't mind because I dressed properly, and it was quite a nice evening. Honestly, I wish they had that 2 or 3 times a year. That's how much I enjoyed it. Thank you, Dan Shockley, for informing us of something I've never heard of before. And could we get a copy of the proclamation so that we could share it, at the appropriate time? Though I would appreciate that. Thank you to everybody for the public comment. I would be very supportive of the seniors having perhaps a free booth twice a month to sell goods at the flea market. It seemed for people that are in often fixed incomes in a runaway economy, for lack of a better term, it seems the least the city can do when there's certainly open spots not being used. Maybe that would be a stipulation as long as there are open, unused slots. Congratulations to the city staff on the budget award. I did not know such a thing existed. I looked it up a little bit. Good on you. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Lozano.
Yeah, just a few things. Excuse me 1 second. I have something in my eye. I want to thank Dan for coming out, and it was certainly I'd heard of ostomy before, but didn't realize there were several different ways to approach it, right? So thank you for that educational opportunity, and glad we were able to do a proclamation. Thank you, Mr. Belay, for bringing a friend tonight and having him speak. I think that was pretty good, and thank you for introducing him. I also attended the senior bingo on the first one, and oh my gosh, somebody there said, well, we were expecting 40, and I think there were probably, 80. There were 70 people, for the first one. So very well done, you and Andrea Johnson and everybody on the Commission on Aging do such an awesome job with that and taking over some other additional duties in light of some hardship. So really appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to mention is condolences certainly for the Spons family and Connick family. I had the opportunity to regularly be in the presence of Mr. Connick, and he was quite the character. In fact, I just want to kind of point out that my wife lost her father probably 15 years ago, and at our last time that we saw him, he told her that he was going to adopt her as his daughter, and it wasn't but a couple of weeks later that he passed. And so he's a good friend, and certainly want to send my condolences to his family. I think that's all. Oh, one last thing. I did attend the Fire Academy graduation. The CSD promoted and graduated 9 lateral firefighters into the system. So if you see a new firefighter out there in the community, it's probably one of the 9 that just graduated, and they're getting ready to start another academy shortly. And so all's well that ends well, right? You get more people out there and just, protecting our community. So you may also see shortly a brand new fire engine coming here to town, if it's not here already, over at Station 45. And so I think that was probably a result of some of the ARPA money that we were able to provide the city through our funds, and so the CSD used that for what they intended. And so I appreciate everyone coming out. Thank you to staff for all their reports and taking the time to answer all of our questions. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, sir. Myself, just echoing my fellow council members' condolences to Mr. Connick's family and his service to our department and to our city on the commission and commission on the Measure R committee. And again, to the Spons family, a huge loss to the community, and it was an honor to speak at his service on behalf of the city. Senior bingo was great. Thank you, Commission on Aging, for making that looks like a success. I was there with Councilman Lozano, and it was very nice to see that going, and hopefully that'll keep going. So for those of you who are watching, you're not aware, it's for every Monday, right? Every Monday at 1 p.m. at the Jabola Center. Farm to Fork was good, well attended, saw many people there. The weather was a little chilly, but they were really nervous about the rain, but it held off, and it was a great night. It was I think that was the biggest they've ever had. They actually added extra tables, so it was huge. So good for that organization, and it was a pleasure to go to that. Our last Saturday market is October 1st. It's the last one of the year. Encourage people to come out. The weather should be nice and cool, and 10 to 3 o'clock if you want something to do on Saturday, October the 1st. And thank you to Mr. Shockley again for coming, and thank you for your service, sir. Appreciate that. And the last thing, just as a future agenda item possibly, is I would like to maybe see what Armando could come up with the senior market thing. Maybe if we have spaces that aren't, they're empty, then maybe, we could do those for no charge, and then outside of that, maybe the $20, or I'd be just interested if you could just get with Armando. He can come up with some ideas to bring back to us, and we can see. So would that be okay with the council? Yes. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 7:44.